Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Gundam Witch from Mercury, episode 21, or episode, what's it gonna be, like 9, I think? Yeah, episode 9 or 10 or something thereabouts of the second core, episode 21, all in all. That's what matters. Let me double check though. It is indeed episode 21. So this episode is coming out a little bit late, as you might have noticed. A day late, I think it will be, actually. It's the end of the year, the end of the semester at the school I'm working at. So, yeah, a lot of projects to grade, a lot of essays, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of things to do. Many students want higher grades, many want to dispute their grades, yada 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 yada. And I'm a little bit out of time. Even this I'm recording literally a minute past midnight, and I'm gonna have 5 hours of sleep and then to work, so it's interesting. But it's the last week and a little bit of school, so hopefully, for sure, I will have the summer vacation off, so that would mean 2 whole months to make up for anything that I might be behind on, to introduce some new series, maybe even go back to like 5-6 weekly slots, live streams and stuff like that. I don't want to promise too much, I don't want to get ahead of myself, right? But the lack of a job for 2 months would mean, hey, more time for this job, side gig, project kind of thing that is YouTube. Regardless, let's not talk about that. That was only just a little bit of housekeeping. Let's talk about Gundam. And there's quite a lot on one hand. On the other, not really. Because many things have happened, but they aren't particularly complex. The previous episode was mostly an episode of A Loss of Hope. Very apt title. It was mostly an episode that shows any Gundam fans, I'm assuming, that yes, it is indeed a Gundam show. There's no hope to be had. Everybody's having a bad time. And that basically sums up episode 20. Everybody's having a bad time. Besides maybe Cecilia, she's mostly been unaffected by anything that's been going on so far. Cecilia and that guy, that boy with the Haro, that hacker or a super genius or something like that. I don't know. The one who hangs out with Cecilia all the time. Everybody else is just suffering. Many shows have that one single character where you have a meme of being X is suffering, but in case of Gundam, it's pretty much everybody. Being Mio is suffering, being Suletta is suffering, being Martin is suffering, being Elon is suffering. Everybody suffers. And I hope against all hope that we at least get a good end for this season, although I'm not entirely sure of that. Might as well be bittersweet or just a bad end in general. I don't know how Gundam shows usually end, but we'll see. This show, in the entirety of Gundam franchise, is doing some things for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it is the first Gundam series that has a female lead, so why wouldn't it be the first Gundam series that has a good end, right? Or so I say, or so I tell myself, at least. But yeah, to recap the events of the previous episode, a lot has happened, and a lot of that has to do with just people fucking dying. One good thing that happened, of course, is Guel won the duel with Shaddiq. That's good. That takes Shaddiq out of the picture, at least so it would seem. He might still get his grubby little paws out of the prison and still control things behind the bars, or perhaps even the coalition or whatever it's called, the government, will just bail him out because he's been essentially working for them. So why would they keep him imprisoned, right? Makes no sense. But the actual CEO of Grassley has been freed, has been rescued, so things are going back to norm on that front. On the other front, though, no, let's actually stick to the front of Guel, because one more significant thing that happened is Loda learned that it was Guel who killed their father. So, yeah. My tea is still really hot, so I'm just drinking some water. Yeah, Loda learned from Shadik that it was Guel who did it. Question is, how exactly will he take it? We've seen the shock on Loda's face for sure, but how will he process that? Because the first moment, shock at the first moment is understandable, but will he hold it against Guel, or will he take the explanation from Guel and see that, yeah, there was actually no other way, you didn't know, it was just a mistake. You still killed our father, you're still fucking patricide, but it's not like you set off there precisely to kill him. So we'll see where that's gonna go. And of course, Loda is getting another slap in the face because his girlfriend, essentially girlfriend to be, I guess you could say, is also dead. And that happened at Asticassia. And because Shadik, for whatever reason, decided to free Elon, Nika, and what's her face? Noria? Noria, yeah, Noria. Because they're supposedly no longer needed, or he has one last use for them, something thereabouts. So Noria got into her Gundam, started destroying Asticassia, and just as Elon was ready, just as Elon actually managed, not even was ready, he managed to calm her down with while piloting Lefrith Ur, and managed to put the vision in her head that, hey, if you don't see any sense in your life, I don't see any sense, any point to it either, but don't throw it away, let's look for the meaning in life together. Let's go somewhere, show me the places from your drawings, and let's find what life is all about. And then she got killed by the cathedral forces, by cathedral grunts, essentially. Not even by the main cathedral pilot, but rather by just some unnamed, faceless grunts. Of course, Elon didn't take it well, just fled. Sown some carnage in the meantime with Gundvolvas, and then just run away. He will return, for sure. It was too important for him to just not return ever. He will run away and return sometime, maybe. Will he go back to Pale? Unsure, maybe he will. If so, then Pale will get Lefrith Ur to use and create more Gundams based on it, perhaps. If he doesn't, well, Pale will probably send some assassins or someone like that after him, because he's gonna be dangerous. Asticassia lays in ruins, of course. Loda's girlfriend to be is dead. She died on Suletta's eyes. Suletta survived, thankfully, but she's been traumatized yet again by the sheer destruction and sheer amount of death at Asticassia that happened. But she found a little bit of a drive in that, at least, right? She's not passive despairing, right? Sitting on the edge of her bed, or sitting on some rubble, holding her face in her hands and just sobbing quietly. No, she's kind of locked her emotions a little bit, and she's like, okay, we can move the rubble, we can save some people, there might still be some people alive somewhere underneath, let's do it. And the rest of the Earth House, of course, will gladly help her. Also, she's strong, moving rubble just like, like it was a foam mattress. Maybe it is some, I don't know, concrete of the future that actually is a very strong foam, but still. Anything else that happened? The greenhouse has been smashed and shattered. That's gonna be important, and probably some symbolism to that as well. And I think that's it. I might have missed something, I'm not sure, but those are the things I remembered from the previous episode. So if anything else happened, it probably wasn't so important as to stick to my memory. Okay, it's already been 11 minutes of me just recapping things, so how about we stop this recap and start watching the current episode? How does that sound? To do that, of course, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And is my camera a little bit low? Maybe. I had to move it, so I'm kind of recalibrating it now, so to speak. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm gonna need my sound, as I said, and I'm gonna have to ask you for your support, monetary, for example, on Patreon, linked in the description below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs nothing, helps a lot. And with that out of the way, we can start watching episode 21 of Gundam Witch from Mercury in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and they are going to Plant Queta. Also, what's gonna become of Schwarzette? Guel's Gundam was destroyed, so maybe he's going to be the one to pilot Schwarzette? Not Suletta? Oh. Okay, a little bit of a time skip. And Suletta is doing the thing that she knows the best how to do. Hello, Cecilia. True. She's one of the few who were pretty much completely unharmed. She has. Yeah. She very much seems like a changed person. But yeah, of course, Suletta jumped straight into helping mode because that's what she's been doing on Venus. Helping, saving, search and rescue missions, stuff like that. So she's in her element, you could say. Anything new in the opening? I've seen that there have been some very minor changes to the opening along the as the show has been going on. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't noticed any of them. If I hadn't seen a video putting them, all of those versions side by side, I would never be able to tell. I don't have a great memory for details like that. Like, whose face was shown at what moment and how did they look. I wonder, could it be that we get an episode of a breather? I could really use one, not gonna lie. There's been such a density of things happening throughout all the previous episodes that I could use one episode of just a breather. What we can do now, and the title makes me a little bit hopeful. Oh, Petra's alive! Okay, well, Hey! Hey, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Okay. I'm suddenly much more, much more calm about the level of dark and grim that's gonna be in this show. Okay, so she's just been fucking obliterated. Oh, she's been elected already? Is that what the news were implying? I'm not sure. And she's still very much broken. Perhaps putting up a brave face for the media, but in a trusting Prospera. No, no, not really, actually. For how long, though? My condolences for having to be the president. Okay. I mean, they are complicit one way or another. I mean, he does make a modicum of sense still, at least in his motivations. When you were dirtied. When you were sullied by Suletta. Maybe that's why her name is Suletta. She sullied Miorine. Is that a symbolism I'm seeing? Okay, tomatoes. Some of them have survived? Or did Suletta plant some new tomato plants? Here, have a tomato. Yeah, have a tomato. Okay, where did she get all the tomatoes from? Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, there's some in the freezer. Gotcha. So a secret stash of tomatoes. Yeah, better than to let them spoil. And it's gonna boost morale, eating some fresh food. It's nice to see Suletta proactive. It's something I've been talking about for a long time. But Suletta has always been reactive. Now she's so extremely proactive. Let's help those people, let's distribute those tomatoes, let's do this, let's do that. She's going somewhere else? Okay, I guess that makes sense. Very hopeful episode so far. Ah, you did good, Martin. Okay. Nice growth in Martin. Whomst. Oh, Belle, the fuck you doing here? Weren't you going to Plant Queta? Weren't you going to Plant Queta to stop Quiet Zero from happening? Does the MacGuffin at Queta need Prospera's DNA or something? And of course, Pale, ever the opportunists. Yeah, ever the opportunists. So exactly what the Space Assemble League wanted anyway. Unanimous, okay. So you're just gonna go with the military or what? Of course they did. Sorry, my heel itched. Like what? Okay, sure. I mean, it kind of was Grassley and Benerit's machinations that started it all, weren't they? Yeah. Tomato juice? Oh no, just red cups. Essentially, yes. It will control all of technology. Oh, Elon, the fuck you doing here? Which Elon are you? It's not something you can do. Yeah. No, not really. No, it's, yeah, a little bit more complicated than adoption. Eri? Ariel. Okay. So now everybody will be on it. On it. In on it. Okay, are we getting some straight answers? Okay. Okay, sure, understandable. Past tense, present tense. Is Eri. Yeah. What you talking about? Monster. Huh? Calibarn? Or you could just double tap Prospera? That is actually what you're doing. Is Elon gonna come up with something? I'm with Nika here. Because we were never actually... Yeah, exactly. What's that shrine? Move forward even though you don't gain even one. Calibarn. Do I know this Gundam? Did we see it? No, wait, that's not Calibarn. That's Ariel. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is Ariel. Ooh, and what is that? How did she hide it? How did anybody hide something that big? some choral music. Some opera singing. Yeah. Music is on point. Those are Gundvolvas, aren't they? That Eri deployed. I guess the lack of a pilot gives them a good deal of advantage, right? You can pack more stuff inside of whatever pilot life support. They can take higher Gs, right? So they can turn much more quickly. Establishing the network. And everything permit is taken control of. Interesting that Eri is actually going along with it. Something I never actually considered before. That sure, Eri wanted Suletta to be, you know, away from this whole thing. But she's not against killing people and stuff. Wiped out. Yep. I mean, that's what happens when you don't have control over your own ships and mobile suits and anything. I mean, probably even smartwatches have permit technology in them, so... True. True to best girl, yet again. Martin best boy. Elon close second. And which one are you? Elon 5? Elon 0? That's Elon 0, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know, man. Would be easier if they had like a number tattooed on their cheek or something. And here's Schwarzette. Oh, is Loda gonna pilot Schwarzette? Oh, okay. We get a new villain. We get a new antagonist. I did not expect that. There were so many theories for Schwarzette. Who's gonna be the pilot? Is it gonna be Guel? Is it gonna be Prospera? Is it gonna be Suletta? Is it gonna be Miorine? Loda. The most secondary character of the main cast. Okay. Okay, this show still manages to surprise me. Also, while this episode wasn't entirely a downtime rest of an episode, I appreciate that it wasn't quite as intense as the previous few ones. The first half allowed me to rest a little bit, and the second half wasn't too crazy either, so thumbs up. Next episode is titled The Woven Path. And some nice art of what's his face and Miorine. Sorry, there's only so much space in my head for names. So once I remember Noria, some other name just escapes me. When I remember Martin, I lose another name, so you're gonna have to forgive me that. But yeah, anyways, cool episode. So how about we watch it again? We watch it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. I really thought that they are going to Plant Queta, unless we know that there's been a time skip, so perhaps Belle and the other guy already went to Plant Queta, investigated what they had to investigate, and decided that Prospera's daughter is their only chance. Could be. Could be. A lot of destruction at Asticassia, but also it's very nice to see the almost a cross section of it. It's really cool to see that. All those stairs, right, and ladders really, really, really reminds me of Girls und Panzer and their city academy ships. Sorry, not city ships, academy ships. It was always so cool seeing the contrast between the surface, a regular city, and then they're going somewhere downstairs, and oh, it's like an inside of a ship, and it's the same thing. What? So it's really cool seeing things like that. Of course, everything is ruined. It would make a very cool map for a game. I wonder if we're gonna get some Witch from Mercury game. Probably not. Are there any Gundam games out there even? Some must exist. Some have to. Also, are there any Gundam gacha games? I know that there are gachas with non-Gundam branded, so to speak, mobile suits, not Gundam branded exosuits, robots, whatever they call them. But is there any official gacha Gundam game? I'd imagine that they have so many Gundam suits and so many characters that they could easily pull off a gacha. Add to that, like, Miorine, Summer Miorine, I don't know, Wedding Dress Miorine, and you have 3 characters from just a single person. If there actually exists a Gundam gacha, do let me know. Lots of distraction. Loads and loads of it. But everybody is mostly safe, and that's what matters. Everybody is under the weather. Everybody is not feeling great. Everybody is hurt to some degree, scaffolded a little bit, hasn't taken a shower. Only MREs to eat, only some barracks to live in, but they are at least alive. They can count themselves among the lucky ones. And here's Suletta, the one who's fully able, and she's using that ableness to distribute blankets, to distribute tomatoes. Why are you doing all this? Because I can move around. Simple as. Why am I doing it? Because nobody else can. Simple. Have you changed? She did. She did very much. Glad to see Cecilia also walking among the general populace. It would be cool seeing Cecilia serve as a counselor to all those people, help them go through the events that just happened. What we can do now, very fitting title. Petra is alive. I genuinely didn't expect that. I genuinely thought that she's just going to die, and that this is going to be the start of the dark, so to speak, right? Petra's dying, and perhaps next Guel will sacrifice himself, and maybe Chuchu will lose an arm, and maybe their goat will just burn, or, things like that. That, okay, Petra died, one of the people around about the main cast, so to speak, and one of the good guys as well. So now the students are going to start dying, the named students. But no, Petra is still alive. I wonder why. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a reason why they kept her alive. Because, sure, her state gives Loda a drive, a reason to go for revenge, sure, but he would still have that reason whether Petra is dead or comatose. So it doesn't really make much of a difference. They had to keep her alive and comatose for a reason. Calling it now. Loda is doing some stupid shit. Petra wakes up, calls him. Loda stops doing stupid shit. There we go. That's why she's kept alive. To stop Loda eventually. Loda starts doing stupid shit. Petra wakes up and calls him. Loda stops doing stupid shit. I just hope they don't pull Ilan and Noria again with, Petra calls up Loda as Loda is rampaging through Quiet Zero or whatever, and Loda is like, oh, Petra, you're alive, thank God! Shot, disintegrated, dead. I just hope they don't repeat that. Okay, Petra is alive, that's what matters. Can't get hold of Loda, of course. It's the same Gundam as before. I couldn't find anything that would let us identify the pilot. Maybe you shouldn't have fucking disintegrated her then. That would make your job easier. You can't identify a pile of ash mixed with melted steel. We didn't notice Shreddick was harboring them. Yeah, that's a pretty big L on your part. Miorine Rembran has been chosen to be the next president of the Benerit Group. So we just completely off-screened the elections. Interesting. Apparently they weren't as important in the grand scheme of things. Where did I go wrong? Of course, she's faulting herself for that. I don't know why. Nothing of that was her fault, besides trusting Prospera. So I guess that's a thing she can fault herself for, but not much more. Sabina and the others are fine, of course. Miorine isn't Shaddiq, although Shaddiq was also treating his prisoners well, so I guess he's got that going for him. Even if it's just so there won't be more people like us. So he's essentially the villain archetype of a sacrificial lamb. Kinda, sorta, right? I'm going to do the atrocities. I'm going to destroy the world order. I'm going to wipe out the governments. I'm going to uproot the entirety of our culture and civilization, and I will be the biggest bad guy of all time. But after I'm defeated, after I'm done, the world will be a good place. And I'm gonna bear all those sins, but I'm gonna make the world a better place. That's his archetype, it would seem. Which is nice. Which is nice. It's very good to have a driven antagonist, an antagonist that actually has some proper reason, and an antagonist that is a little bit gray. Not just all black, all I want to rule the world, but has some, good things going on about him, or at least about his reasons for being the villain. Even Prospera has her good reasons. Is there anything better? What you know? There are tomatoes. Those are some nice looking tomatoes. I gotta buy myself a bottle of tomato juice. Last time I drank tomato juice was in the first episode of Call of the Night. So I need to buy myself a bottle. And you get a tomato, you get a tomato, everybody gets a tomato. It really matters. It really helps. Sure, they are surviving, but there is no pleasure in their lives, and pleasure really matters. Getting to eat something nice, it really boosts morale a lot, to the degree where US military during the war in, I don't remember which war, but one of the wars that US was a part of, they had entire naval ships that were solely dedicated to carrying and manufacturing ice cream. To bring ice cream with them wherever the army would go, an overgrown ice cream machine would follow, because it boosted morale just so well. That's the reason why modern MREs include some lyophilized fruit or some candy. Polish MREs, for example, have some fruit candy, some, I think, like a coffee candy, and some lyophilized fruit. And it really boosts morale, eating something sweet, something tart, something, something that you aren't eating just to sustain yourself, but for pleasure. So giving out those tomatoes is a really good move. It also really shows really well how proactive Suletta has become. Cold. Thank you for that display. I would probably like to know how many degrees, but if you're saying cold, I'm just gonna trust you. Yeah, it really shows how proactive Suletta is. She started distributing those blankets, although she might have been asked to do that, so we don't know about whether it's her being proactive or her being reactive to someone's orders. But this, only she knew that there is a fridge with tomatoes inside. So she decided to do something. She made the decision. She fetched out the plan of taking those tomatoes and giving them away to people so that they can feel better. She did something, she planned something, and she executed something all on her own. It came from within her and was executed by her, with help of Chuchu, sure, but still, it really shows her proactiveness. We got a little bit of a taste of that in the previous episode when she started undoing the rubble and helping people. She was the first to do that. That was also very proactive. Although one could argue that it was just her kind of like a Pavlov reaction starting up from her days at on Venus, where she would do just that, disaster relief. So there's a disaster, there are people under rubble, so what do? Well, I help those people. It's just how it is. But this is something she came up with herself and executed herself. I was refrigerating the ones we hadn't eaten. Well, it's a good thing that the fridge was apparently under the floorboards for some reason. The power is unstable, sure, so they can spoil, so we need to give them away. Don't you have to ask Miorine? I'm sure Miorine would say just hurry up and do it. No, I don't have to consult Miorine about everything. I don't have to ask people for permission. I don't have to wait for someone's agreement or for someone's orders to act. I can act on my own, and I can justify those actions. A big, big, big change in Suletta. Okay, it's cold enough now. Matcha and lime, if you're interested. Those are some really nice looking tomatoes. Let's go back and get ready to hand things out. A nice little bit of talk between Martin and Nika. And Nika is very positive about it, right? I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm gonna serve my penance. I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done. I'm gonna stay in jail for a couple of years. Maybe I'm gonna have to pay a fine. Maybe community service. I don't know, but I'm gonna make amends. And when I'm done making those amends, I'm gonna return to this school on my own terms. Because I want it. Not because someone wants me to be a sleeper agent. Not because someone wants me to be someone wants to use the fact that I'm at this school. No, it's going to be my decision. I'm taking hold of my life. I'm doing what I want to do. And I want to be at the school. Not much is going to change on the outside, but now it's going to be my decision. Kind of a similar theme was in some other manga that I can't remember, but something similar was in Dragon Maid. When Toru was reminiscing of her talk with the human girl she had back in her original world, and the goal of that girl, who was a freed slave, I believe, was to become a maid. Toru asked a question, well, wouldn't you be just enslaving yourself then? You escaped from slavery and now you're going to enslave yourself? And the girl said, yeah, but it would be my choice. It would be on my terms. I would be enslaved, essentially, because I want to be. So it's very similar. I'm still gonna be at school, but the air of it will be different. The reason of it will be different. In my own right, exactly. And she still doesn't want to give up the dream, of course. Because you opened my eyes, Martin. And Martin rises up to his role as the head of the house. Belmeria and a Fed. I know what his name is. Gaston Parch. Okay, Gaston. No one fights like Gaston. No one don't like Gaston. Space Assembly V. No, Space. This fucking font, I swear. Space Assembly League Investigation Division, Gaston Parch, ID number, whatever, and the rest is ineligible. So he's also a part of the Space Assembly League, and yet he wants to stop the Space Assembly, kinda sorta. So I guess he's part of like an internal investigation bureau, kinda sorta deal, where he can, fight against his own bosses in a way. Administrative body that mediates political problems among the fronts. Fronts. What are the fronts exactly? The frontier of humanity? The outer sphere of human influence, spreading away from Earth towards the edges of the solar system? Possibly. Possibly. If Mars is colonized and there are some space colonies outside of Mars, then that's the front of humanity. Once humans colonize Titan, then that will be the edge. If humans build a base on Pluto, that's gonna be the front. Maybe something like that, I'm not sure. And fronts being problematic because they are the furthest from government's influence, probably. Combat actions at the school front that endangered civilian students, the abduction of Grassley's CEO, everything committed within the group. Sure, but you can't just fold the group as a whole for that. It's the companies within the group. Grassley and Benerit, mostly. And Pale, but of course they wouldn't say that. Their armed suppression of anti-Spatian demonstrations, of course they're gonna bring it up, resulted in many casualties. I still can't get over how ridiculous they look. They really wouldn't stand out if they were placed in Warframe. Warframe X Gundam, which from Mercury collab when? We've confirmed they were secretly developing Quiet Zero. Not the Benerit Group, it was just Prospera on... No, actually, it was Delling, the head of the Benerit Group. Okay, so you can actually say that, yeah, the Benerit Group is responsible because the head of the Benerit Group is responsible. So I guess dissolving the Benerit Group would be prudent, and then they can form their own groups. You know? Maybe. I guess it does make sense. Probably not the best outcome, especially now that Miorine became the new leader of the Benerit Group, but still, courageous whistleblowing of Pale Technologies. Sure, courageous whistleblowing. They're just rats jumping off a sinking ship and helping it sink even further. Opportunists. The very definitions of opportunists. Against the Benerit Group for the purpose of dissolving the conglomerate. Anonymous consent. Apparently clapping is voting in this world. And they're moving out. I was confused. Why are they moving out so much of their military just to dissolve a group? That seems like a legal process, not a military process. But apparently they are going for Quiet Zero to stop that. And the dissolution of Benerit Group is something that can actually be achieved politically and legally. I think, maybe. I'm not sure how politics and legal system of this world works, so I can't really speak on it too much. Space Assembly League has decided to forcibly intervene against the Benerit Group. At the same time, it is partnering with the Pale Company, of course, and the Pale benefits the most. To nobody's surprise. Extra orbital reports and something that's obstructed with the subs, so let me hide them. Subtitle visibility. This is being seen as an attempt to minimize the disruption caused by its intervention. Okay, so essentially we are dissolving the whole group, but we are working together with one of the companies from within the group so that, you know, the workings of all of those companies aren't interrupted, or rather the workings of all those companies are interrupted, but at least there's Pale that can take over a little bit, so people don't lose the entirety of the Benerit Group's supply. They still have Pale able to supply them, something along those lines, probably, I'm not sure. The League will act to resolve the unrest within the Benerit Group. Shinsei's terminals have no data, of course. Prospera wouldn't leave any data behind. Development Council and Cathedra. They decided to second the Assembly League, of course, because... Wait, is Cathedral a part of the Assembly League? No. Cathedral was Delling's initiative, wasn't it? So they've also jumped ship. But... guy whose name starts with K, I don't know, Ken Gun or something like that. No, not Ken Gun. Something. Not Kira. I don't know. The guy on the left. He's also part of the cathedral. And yet he's sticking with the Benerit people? Interesting. Uh-huh. Sarius is calling. Yeah. Cathedra can no longer hold them back. You should have learned more from Delling. Just throw us under the bus. And it's honestly probably the best solution. Honestly. Throw Grassley and Benerit under the bus because those companies led to this whole situation. They're infighting, right? Benerit CEO trying to assassinate the head of the Benerit Group. No, wait, not Benerit. The Gules company. They're not called the Benerit company. Something else. Grassley and whatever. God, I've been saying Benerit the whole time, haven't I? Whenever I said Benerit in the context of company, know that I meant Gules company. I don't remember what it's named. Again, there's so many names in this show that I'm really forgetting them. But yeah, throw them under the bus. Wait, is he... Does he... Oh, Grassley is Gules company. So what's his company? No, wait, he's talking of me and Grassley. His company is Grassley, and he's the CEO of Grassley. So cut off me and my company, not those two. Okay, I get it. And it also makes sense. Shadik is from Grassley, and he is the rogue one essentially. So cut off Grassley. They've been supporting Shadik. We at Benerit Group, we don't know anything about it. We it was all Shadik. We were keeping tabs on him, but he turned out to be way too smart and started using the assets of his company of Grassley to commit all those atrocities. So we are hereby rejecting their company. We're ejecting them. We no longer want to have anything to do with Grassley. Their assets will be distributed evenly among our other subsidiaries. Yada 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 yada. Makes sense. Genuinely, actually makes sense. But Miorine is too good. Miorine is too good to do that. She's not the greatest businesswoman. I never want to sacrifice anyone else. Even if it's Grassley and even if it's your best shot at keeping the company, the group, how it is. Really? Bad choice. I mean, morally correct, but bad in long term. Quiet Zero. And here we get a proper, clear, explain like I'm 5 explanation of all that's been going on. Quiet Zero is a system that establishes and extends a data storm network deployed by aerial and mobile suit-type Gundbits, so Gundvolvas. All systems that use Permet will be under its influence. Is there anything that doesn't use Permet? No, at least not in the fronts. Quiet Zero explained. Permet is everywhere, from a smartwatch, to your headphones, to a Gundam, to a capital ship. Everything is powered by Permet. If you can control anything powered by Permet, you can control anything. That's what Quiet Zero does. Full explanation. Doesn't that mean this What's It will take over everything? Yes. Yes, it does. She plans to use Quiet Zero to create a gigantic data storm network within the Earth's sphere. At worst, there could be massive loss of life, of course. We must stop her before Benerit and the League come into conflict. Sure, and then we can pin all the issues on Prospera. It wasn't the Benerit, so the League can back off before there is any sort of conflict. Armed conflict, perhaps even. And cool that Suletta realizes and kind of internalized everything she heard. She's not in denial. She's not, you know, she's not agonizing over it. She's very matter-of-factly. No, she won't listen to me because I'm not her real daughter. It's, you know, it's kind of sad, but that's how it is. I mean, we're genetically related, but it's kind of complicated. It's cool. I don't know if it's a masking kind of reaction, right? It still didn't fully get to her. She's not fully broken, quote unquote. She's just kind of put on a stoic mask, kind of sort of deal, or is she actually over it? Possibly the latter, I'm not sure. And we get a full proper explanation of the deal with Ariel, Eric, and Suletta. There's only one real daughter, Ariel. I'm a repli child made from Eric's genes. So repli child is an actual thing that exists. It seems to be an established technology. Interesting. Are any other people at Asticassia, any other kids, repli children? I wonder. Mom was researching gun technology. Vanna, this incident, fled to Mercury with Eric. Eric was weakened. Mother used gun to transfer Eric's soul, essentially her mind, into Ariel. And now Ariel is Eric's body, essentially. But that limits Eri to just living inside of a data storm. So Mother Prospera wants to create an all-encompassing data storm so that Eri can live anywhere. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense, and it was more or less what I suspected. That Prospera doesn't necessarily want to, you know, be the queen of the world and have control over all the technology and stuff like that. She just wants to make the world livable for her daughter. Essentially. Her daughter can only live within the confines of a data storm, and Delling has been working on that thing that can generate huge data storms. So let's generate a huge data storm so that Eri can live within. Wouldn't surprise me. Actually, wouldn't surprise me if Prospera succeeded, caused a global or solar system scale data storm, and just get satisfied with that. That's it. She achieved what she wanted to achieve. Eri can now walk freely. She can see Eri just like that. Eri can go anywhere, and that's it. She doesn't want to rule the world. She doesn't want to take control over the technology. No, she just genuinely wanted to bring her daughter back. That would be interesting if Prospera actually succeeds, and that's it. No mustache twirling, no grand villain speeches. No, she just causes a data storm, hugs her daughter, and is satisfied with that. Huh. I'm gonna note it down, just in case. Prospera succeeds. Eri can now be free, and that's it. No evil plan, no ruling the world. That would be a very interesting subversion. Thanks to Mom, I was able to go to school, true. But what's most precious to Mom is Eri. No matter what I say, she won't listen. I'm not her real daughter. She doesn't love me as much as she loves Eri. So I really can't help you. If there's another option, there's a machine the Assembly League confiscated during the Vanities incident. Gundam they nicknamed a monster. Have we seen it? Maybe in the prologue. Is it? No, it isn't the the first form of Ariel, whose name I forgot, because that's what Prospera used to escape with Eri, so it has to be something else. Calibarn. No filter against data storms. If persuasion's out of the question, it's our only option. How? Why? Why is a Gundam with no safeguards your only option? Why not a Gundam that has safeguards? Right? Like, what's so special about Calibar, and besides the fact that it's gonna kill the pilot much faster? If persuasion's out of the question, it's our only option. Is it really? Is the lack of a filter against data storms somehow supposed to protect it from Quiet Zero effects? No. It still uses permet technology. Quiet Zero doesn't just control GUND technology, it controls permet technology. So even non-GUND technology, it could control tanks. And I don't suppose tanks have data storm filters in them, because people don't connect to them like they would to a Gundam. So what's so special about Calibarn? I'm gonna note it down. What's special about Calibarn? At Pale, how many pilots did you sacrifice? Yeah, that's actually a good question. And now you're making Suletta expendable. Belle is really a pitiful character. She's just, I don't know, you just kind of want to mercy kill her. Like, she has no drive, she has nothing. She's just here to be bounced around from wall to wall and crying. Oh, maybe she's gonna go out in a blaze of glory at the end of the show, but I'm not sure. I'm not a huge fan of Belle, honestly. Like, I understand narratively what she's going through, what her issues are, yada yada yada, but I'm really not a fan of her. And Nika is right. Well, you've been using so many lives, treating them as they're expendable, and now you want to treat Suletta as expendable? What the fuck is wrong with you? Can you literally not do anything else besides sacrificing other people's lives? She's right, I'm with Nika here. I still have no clue which Elon is it. Maybe Elon 5. He just fled out into the space in a fit of rage, then decided, oh no, actually I'm not gonna run far, and returned. But where is Ur, if that's the case, and why did people mention his change in character, in demeanor? Is it the original Elon? So later you can't pilot that thing, and we get another explanation. I've never been under the Gundam's curse because Eri was taking the brunt of it. Exactly. Eri was able to fully synchronize with the data storm, so it wasn't a danger to her, and it wasn't a danger to Suletta either. What's this shine? That's why you were never affected. Is it a shine of realization, or is it a shine of superpowers? Either or. Could be a shine of realization that I'm not special. I'm actually just a normal human girl. If I go and pilot a Gundam, I will suffer a data storm and I will die. Or is it a shine that isn't in Suletta's head, but rather is shown to us as the audience? There is something special. There is a shine of some power inside of Suletta. Maybe she can also synchronize with data storms. After all, she's genetically identical with Eri. Either or. Either could work. I wanna talk to Eri. I wanna talk to Mother one last time, of course. I have to do what I can, even if I don't get, even if I don't gain anything. Very nice riff on her mantra. Go forward, gain nothing, but you gotta go forward. That's what matters. take me to the Gundam, so to Caliban, I'm assuming. I was wondering what this is. Is it Caliban that they're keeping in some super secret vault? But no, it's Ariel connecting herself to Quiet Zero. Ariel and Quiet Zero have established interconnection. And we are starting it up. That's a big ass thing. How did Delling and Prospera manage to hide it? I don't know. How did they manage to build it? I don't know. But they did. I thought that perhaps it's Plant Queta that has Quiet Zero hidden somewhere within it. You know, kind of like in Mass Effect, the Citadel was a giant mass relay. In reality, then maybe Plant Queta is actually the Quiet Zero. But no, it's a completely separate thing that they managed to build somehow. So what was it about the key to Quiet Zero is on Plant Queta that we heard a couple of episodes ago? What is it? What was it about Plant Queta? I hope we get an answer to that, and it hasn't been just retconned. We'll capture it, of course. We will try at least. Gundvolvas, that's a lot of Gundvolvas. When did you have the time to manufacture them all? Cargores. Mass-produced Gundams, of course. Mobile suits, sorry. And of course, unarmed Gundvolvas have an edge over manned mobile suits because, for example, the amount of Gs they can take. A human body can take only so many Gs until the pilot just fucking faints. Gundvolvas don't have a pilot, so they can just zoom around and dart around and take however many Gs they want. Beginning creation of Datastorm Space. And the Datastorm Space was only created between the Gundvolvas. So is the thing hidden at Plant Queta the one last missing bit that will allow Prospera to create a solar system scale Datastorm, not limited by Gundvolvas? Oh, I'm not sure, maybe. She's creating the storm here just to take control of the assembly ships and mobile suits. Thank you, Eri. This is something that's very interesting. Eri is fine with it. Eri is perfectly fine with it. That's interesting. She's not, you know, revolting. She doesn't need any convincing. Mommy, I don't want to kill those 5,000 people. Let's not do that. Let's find a different way. No. Oh, Mommy wants me to kill those 5,000 people? Well, I'm gonna do what Mommy wants. We don't hear her voice. We don't know what she's thinking. We don't hear what she's saying. So maybe internally she is rebelling, but Prospera somehow controls her mind or something. I don't know, but it is interesting that Eri, all things considered, is complicit. She is complicit. I wonder if they're gonna address that. The world I'm creating for you. That easily. Indeed, that easily. Not again, more lives. Not your fault, Miorine. Not your fault. Assembly League decided that they want to do it, and they did it to a pitiful result, but they did it. On their own accord. Is this Quiet Zero thing that crazy? It is. It is indeed. And of course, everybody's going with Suletta. Because, yeah, it's a bad idea, but precisely because it's a bad idea, we can't let you go alone. I love Choo-Choo. And Elan's joining in as well. Is it Elan 5 or is it Elan 0? Probably Elan 5, because he says with security this tight, there's no way I could escape alone. But then someone mentioned a change in his character. There's somewhere I want to go. Where exactly? To Dawn of Fold Base, maybe? If you let me walk away, I'll lend you a hand. Okay. Though I refuse to pilot a Gundam. Well, Belle is feeling very awkward right now. Has he changed personalities again? So, they noticed switch from Elan 4 to Elan 5, and now change personalities again. Question is how? Because Elan 5 grew as a character, or because Elan 5 actually escaped, and this is Elan 0. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Elan 0 posing as Elan 5. Will you tell me about the Mr. Elan I knew? About Elan 4, I'm assuming? Which Elan is it? Please tell me. And this is unexpected. I really thought that Schwarzette is going to go to someone else. And now my brother changed. Miorine, because of Miorine. He became the new Shadik. Essentially. Kinda, sorta. But Loda was way, way, way low on my list of people that might get to pilot Schwarzette. Like, incredibly low. Not even the first 10 people, not the first 20. I would have sooner expected, Choo Choo to pilot Schwarzette. I would have sooner expected Belle to pilot it. I would have sooner expected Cecilia or Martin or Nika than Loda. It really came out of left field, completely left field. And I like it because it really introduces a fair bit of, of unknown, of uncertainty. Like, I could predict roughly what would Chuchu do with a Gundam, what would Martin do with a Gundam, what would Cecilia do with a Gundam, but Loda? We've known him as a very pitiful kind of lesser brother kind of a character that wants to grow into his big brother's shoes to a degree. He never fully was his own person, even. And now there's a drive, there's a burning hatred in his eyes. He wants to do things. And how is he going to do them? I don't know. Is he going to be cold and methodical? I don't know. Is he going to burn with his rage and just rush in? I don't know. Is he going to sacrifice his life while piloting Schwarzette to a data storm? I don't know. Is he going to be very careful with that? I don't know. How good of a pilot is he? We don't know. We haven't seen him pilot even a training mobile suit. Introducing a complete blank card, a complete unknown variable this late into the series? Cool. I really enjoyed this episode. Probably would have enjoyed it more if I didn't know most of the answers, or at least didn't suppose most of the answers, but still. The woven path, the woven, interwoven, interlinked path of who? Woven path of Miorine and Suletta. Woven path woven for Suletta, path woven for Eric, path woven for Loda. We'll see. And a very cool art. Unripe tomato. Unripe green tomato plucked early from the bush, representing their relationship of Miorine and Shadik. I already read it on Reddit before it went dark, that this was the symbolism in season 1, where Miorine plucked the green tomato when talking with Shadiq. Right, this is our love. It's not ripe, it's not there, and here I'm cutting it right now. I won't give it a chance to ripen. Very nice. I really like it. That was a great episode. That was episode 21, and as I said, it was great. I really did enjoy it. I was afraid that we're gonna continue on Miss Prospera's wild ride, and it's gonna get more complicated and more complex and more dark, and we're just going to continue on this train that has no brakes. But no, this episode was a nice moment of a breather. Not particularly much action, not particularly many bad things happening. The entire fleet was wiped out and many people died in the process, but they weren't named characters, so it doesn't really have that much of an impact. And we've seen much more people die so far, so what's a couple thousand more, right? I'm glad that we got the answers to three the biggest questions, right? What is Quiet Zero? What is Prospera planning? And what's the deal with Suletta? We got those answers in straight words, explained like I'm five. People who didn't get what's been going on so far probably loved this episode even more than I did. I did like it still. I really did like the straight explanation, but it was a little bit. My satisfaction was lowered a little bit by the fact that I kind of knew those things already, so it felt a little bit like retreading. But I still very much appreciate what they've done. I really like how hopeful the first half of it was, and how it really established Suletta as that central figure of that hope. She's the one who saved so many people. She's the one distributing blankets. She's the one distributing tomatoes. Tomatoes and were kind of a symbol of love, of heart in this show. So she's kind of like giving out her care, her love, her heart to those people in need. She's very selfless and all that. It was it really felt nice, the first half. The second half, once defecation hits the ventilation again, a little less nice, but rather still nice in that I really liked it, I enjoyed it, but not quite nice in that it really went towards the dark side, quote unquote. But it's Gundam, so I have no, I'm not under any illusions that everything's gonna be just butterflies and rainbows, because it's not. But this episode was really cool, was really great. I really didn't expect Loda to be the next antagonist. I really did not expect that. He was way down the list. I thought that maybe he's gonna jump in at an inopportune moment, and he's gonna, I don't know, destroy Guel's plans somehow because of his reckless actions. Or maybe he's going to sacrifice himself to save Guel, or Guel is going to sacrifice himself to save Loda, despite Loda, cutting Guel off, and then they have last moment as brothers. Oh, I always loved you. I'm sorry for what I did. Oh, I forgive you, Guel. Just don't leave me. That kind of a tear-jerky moment of two brothers reconnecting and being able to forgive and forget, or at least forgive, but then one of them dies still. It would be very on brand for this show. But no, instead we got Loda as a full-on Gundam-wielding antagonist that wants to go after Miorine because he believes that everything bad is Miorine's fault. I wonder where it's gonna go. He really is a great unknown, so I can't really make many predictions. I'm incredibly surprised that Schwarzet went to him. Like, you don't even imagine. He wasn't even on my list of possible pilots. I would have sooner expected a random no-name girl from Asticassia to jump in and take the wheel as an attempt to survive another attack on the academy than I would have expected Loda to do that. But that raises the question of security. How did he manage to get there? Is it just open for everybody to access? Ooh. That was a very good, much needed episode, both because of all the explanation we got, and because of the little bit of downtime, and because of the little bit of hope that it gave us in the first half, and because it established our new goal, our next the next events. What are we going to do next? Title is very apt. Again, what can we do now, or whatever the title was, something in that vein. Yeah, it was cool. I really did like it. I really did enjoy it. But did you? Tell me all about it in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not? What did you think of my reaction, of my commentary, of my theories? Say it all in the comments down below. There are no spoilers, no risk of that, so talk in the comments to your heart's content. But if you want to talk in real time, my Discord is here also in the description, so you can join it always and talk there. But comments are really good for the algorithm, so please do leave one, even if you decide to talk about it all on the Discord. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but please tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Gundam Witch from Mercury, but also Madoka Magica is returning, Ancient Magus Bride Season 2, Benerit Saito-san Isekai ni Iku, and other shows. I also stream sometimes, and soon-ish I will be streaming the Symphogear XV concert, so you might want to click the bell icon to be notified of that, probably in about 2 weeks' time. And I also stream some gacha games sometimes, so if that interests you, you might want to stick with the bell as well. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, for example, linked in the description as well, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphogear, Madoka Magica, and others, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the list of my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Net, Fruit, Zayrainer, Akomancer, Fussel, Dr. Watt, Marsh, and Hans Peter. And you can join their ranks without the need to pilot Schwarzet.